Hello everybody, Michael here, and tonight we're gonna check out how to connect Python application code to the MySQL database. So behind me somewhere there I have some example programs that I'm gonna show you, and the example will show you sort of the aspects on how to connect Python code to the MySQL database using the MySQL Python connector. So let's see what we have here. I'm gonna go down here, and this is my example program then. So I got a README, and that is sort of explaining the whole setup of this example and how to get going on your own. What database you need to have, what database user you need to have to make it all work, and how to install the additional stuff you need. Okay, so I'm gonna go rather quickly, so I'm not gonna go into those details. I just want to run the code like that. But still, I got my text editor up here. So let's see. No, I'm not gonna go through all this. Here we can download the example as a zip. Nice. Here is a lot of documentation. So this is the documentation you need to have when you want to use the MySQL sort of connector Python, how to do this on your own, where to read details, and learn how to sort of extend my small example programs to really nice application code doing this. So, but I'm gonna leave that there. I'm also going to leave my requirements here, so we can ignore these. Those are just me using those to create awesome Pythonic code, so skip them. This is the actual this is the actual pip package you need to have. So this is the MySQL connector for Python, and it's available as a pip package, and it is developed by the MySQL sort of team that has that. So, okay, so let's leave that and go directly into the example programs. So I'm going to go with the connect first there. So this connect is actually just sort of, what is it? Connecting to the database, creating just the connection and basically not doing anything more. So let's see how it looks like. So I'm going to connect and connect to the database. We got a cursor object here. Okay, so MySQL connector connection. Okay, so nothing much. Let's just check out that code instead here. Okay, so here we have it. It's nothing more than this. Okay, so import the MySQL connector. Okay. Then we have the connection details, and we call them DSN. So this is the data source name. And we're going to log into the localhost, or 127.0.0.1, same as localhost. We're going to use the default port 3306. We're going to log in as a user called Maria, and we're going to use the password here, this password there. So it's really nice if you have that user when you run these example programs. Either you have to update this or fix the user. Okay, so what do we have here? We have a main, and I do think everything happens here. So let's see what it is. So in the MySQL connector, there is a method called connect. And to that, we send the whole DSN data structure up there and sort of unpack it to the actual arguments. And then we got the connection. And we're going to use that connection to get the cursor. So now we have a cursor. We're not really using anything of this, but we got the connection and we got the cursor. So the intention is, I do think that we're going to use the cursor to work towards the database. So we're just printing it and closing it down. Fine. Okay, so let's leave that and try and see if we can find anything more. So we have this select one. So let's see how that works. Python select one. So this is executing a query to the database and just doing a select without actually using a database, just doing a select 1 plus 1. We can see that the SQL statement is there, and then we are sort of printing out the result set. Okay, so we're getting a 2 back. So we're only getting 1 row, 1 column with a 2. So that makes sense. And the sum is 2, and we're just printing it out. So let's just check that sort of example program to see if it differs from the other one. Okay, so we got the connector there. We're importing connect and error, different, slightly different from the last example. Okay. Okay, so here we do. Okay, we're having the same DSN, obviously. Okay, good. So here is the code then. So we're going to do a try except. So if we get an error somewhere here, we're going to sort of print it out. So that is, it's really good for debugging purpose when we try to work with these example programs. Okay, so then we're going to do a with. So we're going to do a with here. So when we do with, everything we do will sort of be closed down also on when it's sort of when we don't use it anything anymore. So we don't need to worry about sort of leaving resources up. So that's why we're going to do this with the with statement here. So we are connecting, and we're getting the connector as CNX, and then we are creating a cursor, and this time we're going to go with a prepared statement. So this cursor can be created in different ways, so it can behave in different ways. Usually one way it can behave differently is how the result sets are returned. So I can sort of decide on what type of data structure I will get back. So that could be a good thing. But I'm going to go with a prepared statement here today. So I'm going to use those. And prepared statements are, well, basically the thing to use. You can sort of prepare one statement and execute it many times, but you can also have these variables in the statement, and you can change them, and the variables or arguments will also be sort of, when added to the SQL statement, it will be done in a secure way, doing escapes and all that. So we will avoid SQL injections. So that is sort of a few reasons why we should go with a prepared statement when we are adding variables into the statement. But in this particular statement, we're not using that. So still we're going to go with that. So let's keep that until the next example programs. So what do we do here? We're going to execute the query. So I'm going to prepare the SQL statement, and then I'm going to use the cursor to execute it. Okay, so it is now executed. So the next thing would be to fetch the result set. So that we do, we use the cursor. We know it's only 1 row, 1 column, so we're going to use fetch 1 this time to fetch the result set into a row. And then we can sort of, well, we can debug it, print the row to see what actually sort of data structure it is. And then eventually we could just sort of print out the first part of the row. So that was a 2. Okay, nothing more to see here. Good. Let's then move on to the select many. Python select many. Let's see how that turns out. Oh, excellent it seems. So let's see what we have here. There is the example program. Connect, and we're going to go with that SQL statement, select something, limit. There we have an argument, %s, that is the argument way in Python. And the args are 7. So this 7 is going to be replaced there. 7 goes in there when we execute this statement. So here we're also going to print out the result set, so we can see here. By looking at these, we can see the actual Python data structure that is used. So that could be nice to know. We can see that we have rows We have rows, and each row contains 3 columns in the tuple. Okay, nice. And then we're just going to print out. So it seems like the sort of first 7 countries in the world database. Let's go in and check that code. So select many. Let's see if it differs from the last one. Seems to be the same there and there. Okay. Seems to be the same there. Okay. And then we go down here and execute the query. So we're having this there. That is sort of this is the argument position. So when we execute this prepared statement, we need to send an argument in there to replace that one. And in Python here, we're going to I'm just going to create that as a variable to make it a bit verbose. And then I'm going to create sort of a tuple to send in here. And it only contains 1 value for the time being. Okay, good. So there we go. Execute SQL with the arguments. Yes, SQL with the arguments. That is the way to do it with prepared statement. And fetch the result set. So there we go. This time we use the cursor again, but now we have many rows, many columns, so we're going to fetch them all. So fetch them all, 1, put them into the local variable result there. And since we can print it, we can see what it looks like. So, and then it's just a matter of sort of iterate around it and printing the values out. So here I do a few things just to do sort of format my nice table there. And it's really here with the stuff happening. So for everything in the result set, or for each row in the result set, print the details from the row. That was the country code, that was the country name, that was the country region. Okay? Yeah, I think we got this. So let's move on and go to we have the example program that is called search. This one. Okay, so clear the screen and let's go with the search one. Here we go. So we should search for something. And here is the SQL statement. So search 1, 2, 3, code name, region, and a limit. Okay, so I think I'm going to go with 3. Okay. The args are, okay, so we're preparing the args here. So there we're adding this wildcard character. And the limit is 7. So we're printing out the results that there are 3. Let's do that once more. So I'm gonna go with land. So let's see. Okay, lot of land. Netherlands. Australia, New Zealand, Iceland. Okay, yep, I got it. Let's go in and check the source code. So it still looks the same thing. Well, basically, we could assume this is just another sort of select statement. So still using prepared statement, of course. We're going with the select statement up there. So we have a position there, 1, 2, 3, 4 position that we need to sort of put in there. And the limit there seems to be 7, okay? And we are searching for something, putting into the search variable. And then we are creating the arguments tuple here with the search value. And then we do sort of a string concatenation, adding the wildcard-like character there, adding the limit. And execute it. SQL with the args. Go ahead. And then fetch them all and just print it out. Okay. Create the connection. Prepare the SQL as a string. And what do we do with the string? There. We will execute it together with the arguments. And it will be executed as a prepared statement, because that is how we sort of created the cursor up there. Good. I do think we got the hang of this, so I'm going to quit that one, clear the screen, and doing an ls, and then we have the insert, update, and delete part. So let's see how those works. So I think I'm going to go with the Python for the insert first. So this is really nice. I see the SQL statement that is going to happen here. Nice. So I'm going to insert a new sort of country here. So this is the QWERTY land, and it's somewhere. Okay. So the args are that. I can see that this is the statement. And it says something about rows affected there. One row seems logical. So let's go into the insert statement. There we have it. So still same way to sort of connect. We're going to use the prepared statement still here. And this is the SQL we're going to create, and we're going to have like 3 arguments to send in. So let's read these 3 arguments from the command line and put them into the args tuple there, so we can execute them together with the SQL. Yes, I think this is pretty straightforward. One thing to notice here is that the when we execute an insert statement, update and delete, those will not return a result set, so there's nothing to fetch. However, there are a variable that is sort of keeping count of the number of rows that were affected by the last insert, update, or delete statement. So for the fun of it, I'm printing it out. This is not the best variable to count on or check that your values actually were inserted. Instead, you should just rely on the database. As long as you don't get an error statement back, you should just rely on that this last row were really inserted into the database. Okay, good. Let's go on and go with the update there. So Python update. Okay, nice. It's really helpful to see the SQL code that's going to happen here, really. So code of country to update. I'm going to update the last country I added. So I'm going to update it to the QWERTY. Let's go. QWERTY island. It's going to be an island. Yep. And region is somewhere hot. That is a nice region. So, yep, those are the arguments. That is the SQL statement there. Seems to be 1 row affected, so let's go in and see how that worked. So the update statement is pretty much the same as the insert statement. It's just another matter of sort of the other SQL statement for it. So we got 1, 2, let's see, 1, 2, 3 there. Oh, those shouldn't be question mark. Those should be like that. Haha. Oh, dangerous. This couldn't work. This might work. So let's see. I wonder if it's sort of... Let me just see if this actually worked. So Python, search, and we're going to search for the query. It actually worked. I didn't know. Ooh. So I'm gonna stay with the question mark then. I didn't know it worked with the question mark. Good thing. I was only going with this percentage S. Excellent. Okay, so I'm gonna stick around with that thing. So we got an update. Let's just see. So we got the SQL code there. That's just a matter of getting the details from the user. Again, creating the tuple that will be the arguments and execute everything there SQL together with the arguments. No result set. We can check the cursor row count. Okay, good. Oh, I learned something today. Excellent. So let's go on. That was the update. I wonder how SQL statement is written in the last one, the delete one. So let's see this. ls, let's clear the screen. ls, we're gonna go with the delete one. This is the last one. Stay with me. Delete. So delete from country, where code is. So I'm gonna go and remove the QWERTY land here. Just remove. Okay, seems to happening. The question mark there. Rows affected. I think the question mark looks much better than percentage yes. So rows affected 1. I wonder what happened if I run this again. So I want to go and remove the QWERTY. Rows affected 0. Okay, seems logical. So let's just have a quick look into the delete part. We really assume that this should look the same thing as the other one. Prepared statement, delete something from a table, read it from the user, create a tuple with the arguments and execute. Use the cursor to execute this SQL together with the arguments. No result set. But just print a row count for the fun of it. And then we are sort of done. Yeah, we can see here also that sort of that we are committing the data onto the database. I'm not really certain that I need to commit like this, but maybe if I want to do other things within the same connection, perhaps I want to sort of do an update and then doing a select. So yeah, in that circumstance, it could be good to do a commit to actually see that the updated data is actually written to the database. I'm not really sure I need to do a commit, but I'm doing it to be certain. This commit here, that is also available in the update example program and in the inserts program. We do not see this commit here when we're doing sort of the search or select. So that is only when we're updating data into the database. So how about that? I do think that this was a rather complete set of example program where you use Python programming language to connect to the MySQL database. And if you build on this, I do think you have a good possibility to create some kind of awesome terminal application using your database of choice. So thanks for now and have a nice one. See you later. Bye bye.